All right. So last day, what we did some of the functions on time and days and hours, right? So day function, month function, we worked on hour and minute function and so on and so forth. We also have another set of functions called the time intelligence functions or the formulas. So how do they work? Uh, Over here, if you see, guys, mute yourself. So over here, if you look at it, I have this card called a KPI card. Does anybody know what is the work of a KPI card? What is the full form of KPI?
Key performance indicator.
Key performance indicator. So like this, what this card shows is the green arrow and a down red arrow. What it shows is that anything that is going to define the key performance indicator of the business, we can show it. And typically how we show it, we try to compare it either with, let's say, previous month or previous year, or if we have some targets involved, then we'll compare it to the targets and then show whether yes, we were able to meet the target, we were more than the previous one, we were more than the previous year or less. So red and green indicators come up over here. Now, before we can work with this card, we will have to do few calculations. We have to learn some calculations. The first one that we will learn in time intelligence is date to performance. Date to performance would be something like a, what do you call? It's like a cumulative summary of the measure that you put over here, and this requires calculate. So let's go back. Sorry, we'll come back over here. That's why I was thinking why it was end. It was the end because you have to do these functions first. So we go back over here, and today we are going to talk about few functions like calculate, filter, related, relatable. We have done related. So we'll talk about the next function. So there are a set of functions called iterator functions. Now, what is the role of an iterator function? Remember, we did this calculation over here in which we had first got the, we got the sales column we created in which we said we want to multiply the quantity into price. Remember this?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Now, if I have to find the sum of sales, what do I need to do? Total sales. If I want to find the total sales figure, what do I need to do?
Use a measure.
Make it a measure, right? Yes. And do a sum function on sales tax column. Yes or no?
Yes.
What we have to do with this column that we created of price into quantity, we just have to do a summation on top of it, right? So instead of this being a two-step process, because we did not gain anything or there was no point in creating a new column of sales. So what is happening on the row level, some calculation is happening. And on top of that, the new column that is getting created, aggregation is happening. Okay. This thing that we did and why we had to create this as a calculated column, because this is a row level working that is happening. For each row, the quantity and the price is differing. So instead of doing this as sales tax column, we could have straight away created a measure called total sales. And how we could have done it by using these iterator functions. Now, what iterator function says that what are the functions like sum x, count x, average x, rank x, max and min x, the basic function with the x in front of it to indicate the iterator. You have to tell the table in which the expression will be evaluated. Let's say if I'm trying to evaluate the sales or whatever you are trying to evaluate. And then next is the expression, the table where it's going to happen and the expression. So in expression, we can do calculation on the row basis. So what it does, it uses this expression, does the calculation, creates a virtual column, and then does an aggregation on top of it. So anytime that kind of work is there, we are going to use our iterator functions. Okay, allows us to loop through the same calculation or expressions on each row of the table. So it's going to multiply or whatever expression is, then take the next one, add on to the other one, and so on and so forth, and get the output for it. They allow referencing the column of a table, not measures. So when you're working in this expression, it says that you cannot refer to measures. Why you can't refer to measures? Though I've given the answer on the slide only.
Yeah, because calculation has not been done.
Because calculations are
Twice,
done on
yeah.
row level, right? And
Yeah.
measures are not on row level. It's a
Yes.
one consolidated value or the number that you have. So when
But
you're
Ishani-
writing these expressions, yes,
Yeah, this function will only provide us a single value like measures. right?
correct. So instead of doing two steps, first I create a column, then I do a summation on it. I can do it in one single step. Okay. So this total sales, now we calculate the total sales. Right click. This is a measure we are going to create. And this is total sales. And what is my total sales? My total sales is sum X. In which table do I want to create it? In the sales table, right? Sales data, I'll keep it, comma. And what is the expression? The expression is the quantity into the price. Order quantity I have over here. Into, I don't have the price. So I'll use this function called related. And what do I want over here? I want the product price. Close the bracket for related. Close the bracket for sum X. We press enter.
We can use sales Rex column as well, right?
Yes, but why I'm not using it? Because there's no point of creating it in the first place.
Yeah, correct.
That day I wanted to show you how related works. That's why I did that. But ideally, I don't need that unnecessary column. And as in when you keep on creating data, the more bulkier the file becomes. So we don't want it. Okay. So is this part clear? Why we are using a sum X?
Yes.
Yes. Anytime you guys are going to find an aggregated value or like a total of something or an average of something, and for doing that you need to do some calculation within the table using multiple fields that are there. In those cases we can use sum X, so that we reduce the two-step process of first creating a column and then doing the aggregation on top of it.
Ishani,
Right?
related, what is related? Multiply related.
Vivek, we did it in the last session. What is related? Can anybody help Vivek?
Yes, if we are, taking data from another sheet, like since we are doing calculation sales data, and we are taking product price from product file.
Table.
So in our product table, yes. So in order to, take information from product table, we are relating in between two tables.
Yes.
In short,
Vivek?
to pick field from a different table.
Absolutely. It is almost something similar to your VLOOKUP. Think about it, that you're picking the field from another table and using it over here.
And in
Vivek?
order to work this, there is some relationship between.
Yes,
the
and
data
in order,
model has to be in place.
absolutely correct. In order for related to work in the ER diagrams, in your models, the two tables have to be linked. If they're not linked, then related function will not show you that particular column. Okay, Vivek?
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right. Next is, I think last time someone was asking me, and before I do that, I'm just going to get rid of this column also over here. I don't want unnecessary fields to be created. I remember someone was asking me last time that what if I wanted to calculate something, I forgot. So we created something called weekday and weekend. All right. So we created something called weekday or weekend, right? We created a column called weekday or weekend. What is this? This is my total sales, right? I want to show only the weekday sales. So how should I do it? Only the weekday sales. So means
I
what?
guess-
Means
Yeah,
Yes.
condition. Yeah, condition.
there's a condition, right? So last time somebody had asked me that if I want to find this calculation based on a condition, then what we do? Okay, I don't remember who asked, but somebody was asking. So for those kind of functions, we use something called a calculate function. So you can remember this thing, that calculate function is equivalent to your sum ifs and count ifs and averages of your Excel. So these functions help us to put filters. Pratibha had asked. Okay. So Pratibha, this is the function that you were asking for. So these functions help you to put the filters on the values and then give an output to it. So for example, over here kind of works like sum if, count if, etc. of Excel. How it works, you give the measure, like we have a measure called total sales, followed by the filters you want to put. I may say, okay, weekdays in a month of, yeah, let's say May or something like that. So multiple filters might be there. And the measure could be an existing one or a calculated one. What does it mean? I created a measure called total sales. I could have used that. Or if I had kept my sales DAX column, I could have done sum of the sales DAX column, and that itself would convert into measure, and then we can use it over here. Filter should be created in such a way that only returns true or false. If it's true, if some values are matching and are true, then it will be evaluated. The values which are coming as false will not be evaluated for the final measure value. And they have to be simple and fixed value. Simple and fixed value means something like gender is equal to female. That's straightforward, static value, fixed values. Day of the week or the week, then weekday is equal to weekday. It cannot have a calculation. It cannot be the day of the week is equal to start of month function and something. So you can't use functions and you can't use calculations. It has to be very simple, left hand side and the right hand side, which you're using in calculate. And can't create filter based on measures. So I cannot have measures, I can't have formulas, functions, because of the same reasons. And that's why it says you have to use simple and fixed values for it. Example, we are taking over here now. This is my total sales. I want the sales of only weekdays. So I can go to my sales table. We'll go to the new measure. I'm going to call it weekday sales, calculate, which is the expression. So which expression are we working on?
Total sales.
Total sales, because that's what we want to. Total sales is something that we want to filter. Instead of 24.91, we want to understand how much is in the weekend. And now comes the filter part. So our filter is what? This weekday weekend in the calendar is equal to weekday. Correct? And close the bracket. So anytime in the AW calendar table, if it is set weekday, then only this sales value will be calculated, otherwise not. So it gets filtered based on weekday and weekend. And quickly to put a card and look at the value, if I drop it over here and I drop weekday sales, I get 17.93. And if I create if I would have created, let's say, a donut chart with the total sales and the weekend weekdays, right? This number is 17.93, which is exactly the same thing we got in a card. So it was able to filter out for the weekdays. Is calculate clear to everyone?
Can you please show the formula once again?
Sure. So the formula is calculate. What do you want to calculate? So which measure do you want to filter? Like we use total sales. We also have a measure called total order quantity. We have return. So many measures are there. So which measure do you want to filter? And then followed by what is the filter criteria. So in filter criteria, you have to tell the field on which you're going to apply the filter, and then followed by the criteria on which you want to apply. There may be one filter, there may be more than one filter also.
Okay.
Okay. Like if I say weekdays and male. So gender, I can put in gender also, and gender I can put as M, right? So I've got two filters now, not one filter. And if I press enter, This has become weekday. And did I pick correctly? No, I did not pick correctly. The field is incorrect.
Johnny, total sales is measures or we added column?
It is a measure.
You were saying we cannot perform this activity on majors?
No. Measures in the sense where I'm putting the filters,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Filters
Okay.
cannot be a measure.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, over here it's always a measure that you have. So see, it reduced. When I said weekdays and the customer is a male, then it reduced to 8.76. So 17 point something was there for the total weekdays, and males contribute is 8.79 M. Clear?
So more the commas, that means more the filters.
Yeah. Like you can add more than one filter over here. Okay. Let's try to do few questions on this. Find the total cost, total profit, total quantity, total sales, sales of female customers, category wise number of bulk orders. Bulk order is where the quantity is greater than 1. What are the bike returns, total returns, percentage return, returned sale amount, percentage loss. Okay, let's try to do till this much.
Please show the card
The card show.
which is showing the 8.97 something 79 million.
8.79 is for weekday and gender is male.
How it is getting 8.79?
I added another filter of gender equal to male.
Okay.
If you use only weekdays, you're done with weekdays.
Yes, it's a 7.93 million.
17.9.
17.9.
17.93 million.
Correct.
I want to ask one thing. In this, you have used filter for second table, other table, that is customer table.
Mhm.
So we have not related.
We don't have to relate. Related is going to be used when you want to bring the values in this part. Other than that, all of them are linked together with each other in
Yes,
the
yes.
models, right?
Yes, yes. Okay.
So over here, I am not bringing the field. Related is going to bring the column in this table.
Okay.
I'm not trying to do that.
Can you please add the male part? What will be the condition if we include male?
Comma, gender is equal to M. All right.
Just a minute.
Yeah, just let me copy paste these over here so that everyone can start working, and then I can clear the doubts. All right. I put the questions in the chat window, everyone.
We need to create measures for this question.
Yeah. These questions, these are all measures only. What is the total cost? What's the total profit? What's the total quantity? I think total quantity we've already got. Just make sure that is the most efficient way we got it. Total sales, sales amount for the females, the category wise number of bulk orders, and then the bike returns, the quantity of bike returns.
Shani, can you please show the formula
For
once? Yeah.
oh, for calculate,
Yes.
I'll put it in the chat window also.
Thank
And I'll put the one for total sales as well. Got it?
Total quantity, total order quantity, right? Which we have already created.
We've already done. Yeah, I think it's a sum of quantity, so we don't have to redo it again. That is the shortest way to get total quantity.
So Isani, product cost is also there in product fact table.
Product cost is there. What is the total cost? So in the sales table, they are the items which got sold, right? So what is the costing that I have
Yes.
given for those products? So that will be my total cost, not the product cost table. For
So
example,
means
for
product cost into
quantity. Total cost will be what? The product cost into quantity also, right?
We have to make total cost in product sales table, right?
Total cost in sales table, yes. It's a measure though. It's a measure.
Yes,
unit.
measure you.
What's the status? Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, how many done?
5 done.
5 done. All right.
Yes. For sixth one, category wise number of bulk order.
What happened, Shweta?
So for sixth one, category wise, this again we want in sales, right?
Category wise number of bulk orders. Yes. So when do you use a SumX versus when do you use a calculate? So both the work of both of them is very different. So anytime you have a work in which first you need to do is some kind of calculation among the fields. It may be the same table, it may be the different table. And once you've done that calculation and got that column, then doing an aggregation on top of it. So that is the work of SumX. And calculate is simply working like a filter. It applies a filter and then it gives you the calculated value. Does it make sense? So in SumX, there is no filtering involved. In calculate, there is filtering. SumX is there is no filtering involved. It's just going to pick 2 or 3 fields, work on them, do an aggregation on top of the final output, and then return the value. Think of SumX like a sum product. Like in that case, it does a expression of product, but it does it on the row basis, does the sum and returns to you. That is what SumX is also doing. Working on an expression, working on a function, and then returning a value. Whereas calculate is working like your sum ifs and counters, where it is applying what do you call a filter on top of it. Now, if I had total sales, it means I had done sum first and then found the total sales and now putting conditions. That's why we are saying it's equal into sum if. And if we would have done a count and then put a condition, it works like a counter. So Gunjan, if I ask you to find out the average age of a customer, which function would you use, SumX or a calculate? Like an iterator function or a calculate?
Ishani, I believe both can be used. Just a new function would need to be added on the average X.
If you are finding the average age of the customer, then why would you use calculate?
Right. For that, we can simply put down the expression and average that column wise. That is average X.
Correct. Right. And if I ask you what is the average age of a female customer, in that you will also use your calculate function.
But can't we just calculate a new virtual table and average X that figure?
Yeah, you can. But the whole point is then you're creating new data sets, right? The whole point of not merging and versus using related is again the same thing, that we are not creating redundant data. So when you are creating new columns, you are increasing the data size, and we like to reduce it as much as possible. So instead of creating a table just for doing an average, we rather use a measure. Why create a column first, then do a measure on it, and then find the answer? Why two step when it can be done in one?
Right. So the difference between filter and calculate table is that calculate table do creates a virtual table in the back. Is it?
The calculate table is in the sense it is not returning a value. See, it is not returning a table to you. Calculate is not returning any table to you.
Calculate table I'm asking for, Ishan.
Calculate table. Okay.
Yes.
In that it would be returning in the backend table. Yes. I'm confused what you're asking, Gunjan. You're talking about calculate and SumX?
No, I'm asking for difference between when to use calculate versus when to use any expression aggregation.
What do you think is the difference? Why do you think there's no difference? My question is that.
Because same thing can be
Hmm.
achieved using initially aggregate function, expression aggregate function, and while using calculate in the beginning.
No. Give me an example. Like
As per example, we need to sum we need to the average of the age where the gender is female, right? So what do we use here? Can we do this with calculate?
calculate and SumX both will be used. Average X both will be used because
how
what
about-
you how
about calculate average, then the expression with a
average
filter?
of what?
Average of the total expression that calculated fill.
You are talking about average of
Write it
the
in
expression.
reverse
Like
order. Let's
for
filter it
example,
first.
birth date minus today.
No, not that way. But let's filter out the criteria first.
What is the criteria?
The gender is the criteria. Filter table.
But okay, what on what?
Write
First
it in
is it
reverse.
over here? There has to be a measure, right?
The measure has to be average, since the value is not a sum rather than an average figure.
Average of what?
Average of, as per your question, what was the average?
I said average age.
So let's take the age. Then apply the filter of gender.
Okay. All right. Then
Filter is missing Ishani.
filter is done. This is filter.
Filter function is.
Why do you need to put a filter? Or you want to put a filter function to return it and then give it to calculate?
Kind of.
But Gunjan, you are asking me the difference between a SumX and a calculate. That does not include filter function, right?
Right. Let
But
me
if
bring
you're
up
using a
another
filter
example
function,
here.
then you're filtering it.
Right.
Right. And then you can put your expressions in it.
Let me bring up some different example to you. Let's stick with the sum function, right? Or sum, we can put down a simple figure. Let's sum up the what we can sum up.
What quantity is there? Return quantity is there? What else is there? We've already done number of customers are there. What's the status with others? Done. Gunjan, let me know when you think about it.
Yeah, sure, Ishani.
Okay. And for others, should we start discussing?
Can we dull till say total sales?
Why? This is
Yes,
taking too much time. How many of you have done out of 7, at least 6 or 5 or 6?
All done, Nishani, but I'm also for last one.
Bike
Ishani,
return.
Ishani, could you please tell me if we required sales amount of female customers? So we already have total sales in our total sales created.
Mhm.
So can we modify which one?
So I have almost done it for you guys. So let's discuss, okay? So first one is total cost. So total cost would be I have the order quantity into the product cost. Now, when I'm multiplying the order quantity into the product cost and then summarizing it, what is it? Which function should I be using?
Sum
Sum X.
Sum X, right? So total cost would be,
average sale, table from average sale.
so it would be a sum X. I am creating in the sales table,
Right.
comma, what is it? It's order
Order
quantity
quantity
into
Order
the
quantity.
cost.
related.
Product
I have
fact-
relate
Yes, related.
product
And
fact-
related
product-
the cost. Correct?
Average
Product
fixed.
cost.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And
yes.
close the
Yes.
bracket for sum X. And we get our total cost. So the total cost should be matching up with
14.46.
14.46.
14.46 million.
$14.46 million. Okay. Next thing I asked you was total profit.
Minus
Total profit would be your cost, price minus cost into the quantity. Correct? Price minus the cost into the quantity. And again, it requires some bit of calculations to be done before you can do an aggregation. Hence, this is also a work of sum X. So the total profit in this case would be sum X, working on the sales table. And what do I want? My sales table. And what do I want? I want related, the price, product price minus related product cost within a bracket. And let's put this entire thing in a bracket into the order quantity.
Order quantity.
But we can directly do it, no? Sales minus cost.
Sales, we have got the total.
Yeah, we have.
if
Yeah,
we
we have
have-
done everything. We have
Yeah,
got the
that's what
total.
I-
Yes, we don't
Yeah.
need all this nonsense. Total profit, total sales minus total cost. Correct. We don't need it since we've already calculated all these things. So that's it. The total profit is this much. And just to double check, total profit is 10.46 million. So total cost, total this,
Not
and total sales is this much. So far, so good. Anyone, any questions? Nope.
Ishani,
Huh.
there was some system issue. My Zoom got disconnected. I just joined back
Okay.
again. Can you please
Alright.
take me through total cost once again?
Total cost is basically the order quantity into the product cost. So since we are doing a calculation and on that we are doing an aggregation, that's why we'll use an iterative function of sum X. We are creating it in the table of sales. And how we are creating it? We are working on the expression of order quantity into product cost. Now, product cost does not belong to this table, hence a related function to get the product cost.
Okay. So first
Okay.
we have entered the table name, then the column name.
Table name, and then what you're evaluating. Our calculation is what? Quantity into cost.
Yes.
And cost is not in this table, and hence a related.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so this is done. Total quantity, I think we had already found out, right? Total quantity is already there. Yes, total quantity is there. Total sales is already there. Sales of the female customers. Now, how will we do sales of female customer? I'll modify this one only. So what are we evaluating? We are evaluating total sales, and based on what? Based on the fact that the gender is equal to female. So we have the entire value. Entire value is 24.91. Out of that, I want to filter out the data which belongs to female, and hence we are using a calculate function. So total sales, comma, on the gender is female. So this comes as a female sales, which is about 12.52 million. Arshad, is it clear?
Yes, I'm just writing. Please wait
Okay.
a bit.
Okay, okay. Done?
Yes, done.
Yeah. Sunil, done? Amit, Deepika, Faisal, Prasad, Lalit, Manoj,
Yes, Ishani,
Pradeep,
done.
Shikhar, Suman. Yash, Sunil. Done, done. Okay. On the last one. All right. Last one as in this fourth one, right?
Yes, Ishani.
Okay. Can we move on, guys? Done? Okay. Next one was if I wanted to find the category wise number of bulk orders. So first, in order to do a category wise number of bulk orders, first thing what we need to do. What do we need? We need to calculate this measure called bulk order. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
First, you need to calculate this thing called bulk orders. And what is bulk order? Where the quantity is greater than 0. So if I create a measure over here called bulk order, is there a field which I can use? And I want to calculate the orders where the quantity is greater than 1, right? So what kind of function are we going to use over here?
I have used count and calculate.
Do you need calculate or you don't need calculate?
if calculate we need na, if condition is there, like condition is there.
Yeah,
Calculate we need
use
because the
a
quantity is there, right? We are saying the quantity is greater than 1. So what we need is, first of all, we need to find the bulk orders. So for bulk orders, we can use calculate. Within the calculate, now the expression will be distinct count of order numbers. Correct? This becomes my measure or the expression. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
And what is my value? The order quantity is greater than 1. So distinct count of order numbers, that gives me the total number of orders, and in that how many orders are there which is greater than 1. So if I click on this, and this becomes the bulk order, and if I want to do based on the category, let's create a
Matrix we can check.
Okay, you want to check in matrix, we can check in matrix. We can put our categories. Where is it? Category name, and then we can put our bulk orders. So these are the orders, 2 orders that are coming in clothing and accessories. Bikes have no bulk orders. Pretty much it means the people are only buying clothing and accessories. Bike, a person is usually coming and buying 1 bike at a time. Makes sense also to see that. Everybody is able to get this?
Shani, can you explain how do you get this card?
So this is not a card, this is a matrix.
Okay.
Right? Matrix means a table.
Right.
Okay. So to
More
get
than
this,
one card. Yeah.
first we are talking about the bulk order. So bulk order, how many bulk orders are there? Bulk order, to find how many bulk orders, I need to filter from the total number of orders.
Yeah.
So since I want to filter from something, I'll use a calculate function. Correct?
Yes.
And then I have to use a measure over here. What will be the measure? I can use a distinct count on the order numbers. That will give me total number of orders. And then I put a filter where the quantity is greater than 1.
Got that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. And the next one was bike returns. So you guys have already calculated in something in the returns table, right?
Yes.
We already have this total return quantity. In return quantity, how many are bikes?
That is what I've done. I just want to check answer.
Okay. So in returns, we can create a measure called bike return, and same thing using a calculate function, since there is a.
So in return you have calculated, right?
In return, I'm calculating.
Yes. And that's why I was confused. We need to
calculate. We are talking about the total return quantity. And then comma, when the
product category is equal to
category name, right, is equal to, is bike or bikes? With an S or no S?
Bike.
Bike. Okay. And press enter. Let's see. I'm going to create this two total return quantity and the bike. So total return, no. Are you sure it's bike? It's not bikes.
Ishani, we can create in sales as well, right?
It's bikes. The word is bikes, not bike. You made my filter go bad. What are you saying?
We can create this in sales as well, right?
See, typically, anytime you're looking for something related to return, my instinct will be to go to return table.
Yes.
Not the sales.
That's why I was confused. I thought you just needed to look using the related function and all.
No. So return table only will create, and the answer is 429. Total return quantity is this, and bike return is 429. Now, if I would have put, let's say, if I would have created a matrix and removed the total order quantity. I could have left it there. And I put the category name, right? You will see everywhere is 249. So this calculate function has put a filter, got the value. Now further, when you drop this value in your visualization, it will not further filter itself. If it would have filtered itself again, then the accessories would not have come as 249. So these fields of calculated can't further filter out. Right over here, let's say this was the bulk order, or even if I drop the total return quantity, this is able to filter itself. But once I've calculated using the calculate function, when I've used, it will not further filter it.
I'm not getting bulk order.
Bulk order is this one.
Okay, it's created as one.
Give me just 1 minute to ask my, just 1 minute. All right, all done. Can you please show the calculation of bike return? Yes. Bike return is this one. All right. What is the thing I asked for? What are the total returns? This is already calculated. What is the percentage return? This is also, I think we have calculated. We can now do returns divided by the total quantity, right?
Yes, we have calculated.
Yes, we have
We calculated it. What is the returned sales amount? What is my returned sales amount? So my total sales has been 24.91 million. This was sales, but returns also came in. So what is my return sales amount? What is my total return sales amount? What will that be?
Profit or you?
No, sales amount. There is no profit, right? When it's getting returned, there is no profit in it.
Return quantity into price.
Return quantity into price. Yes, return quantity into price. So let's create it in returns table as a measure. Return sales, returns, total return sales. And that would be where? That would be your sum x into which table? This is return table, and comma, what is the expression? The expression is the return quantity into related product price, and close the bracket. See, and if we create a small card for this, so out of 24.91 million, I've got about 765.28K as a return sales quantity. Correct?
Yes.
765.28K. And what is a percentage loss? So basically, I was thinking that the percentage, what is a loss is basically what is a return divided by the sales. I was not calculating overall loss, but loss in the sense, what is the return sales divided by the total sales? How we found the percentage return. So if I wanted to understand that what is a percent, I should not say loss, but I should say percentage sales loss. How do we calculate? Again, return sales divided by total sales. That should be easy. Okay, any questions? Guys, any questions?
Ishani, Shaka this side, could you please share the formula of total cost?
Total cost, total. This one.
So percentage return sales will our return sales divided by total sales, right?
Yeah.
And we have to change that format into percentage.
Percentage, yes.
Yeah, Ishani, could you please repeat the question? The last
Which one?
The
Last one, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. I had created, now I feel I should not have written percentage loss to begin with. It should be percentage sales loss. Sales loss as in what was returned back. I'm calculating that kind of loss, right? So we already have a what do you call measure called return sales. We have a measure called total sales. If I divide the two, like how we got a percentage return, that will be my loss. So all I wanted was, you know, right, like create a measure. And let's say percentage sales loss is what we are talking about, not overall loss, is your total return sales divided by the total sales value that you have. That's it. And once you get this number, we're going to change this into a percentage. And then if I plot it, and put a percentage loss, so that is about okay, 3.07%. Correct?
Yes.
All right. All right. Any other question, guys?
Can you please send these questions to us?
Yes, I can. Sure, I can.
Okay.
And I'll put the answers also.
Okay, thank you.
I'll put it in the LMS.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, all right. All right, guys. Thank you so much. So I'll see you again tomorrow. We still have few more functions to cover. I think tomorrow we'll go in creating those, using those functions. And using the KPIs, we'll also be creating this KPI card tomorrow and this gauge chart tomorrow. These two chart types we will be working on tomorrow. All right.
Okay,
Ishani.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishani.
Take
Thank you,
care.
Shani.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ishani?
Bye.
Hi, Shani.
Yes.
Just I want to recheck this expression of cal versus sum x. Let's write down the expression for sum x as.
Gunjan, this I'll have to take tomorrow. Sorry, I have another training.
No worries.
But you figured it out, right? So
Yes,
tomorrow
I
you tell
figured
me.
it.
Okay,
Right.
so
The
tomorrow
figure
I'll.
is same. That's why I wanted to know what's the difference between logical difference between these
Yeah.
two, since they are evaluating the same figure.
Correct. I will definitely do it, but tomorrow. Tomorrow I don't have that 3:30 training tomorrow. So I'll definitely can sit after that or before that, doesn't matter. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Ishani. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Sure, Shani.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.